Ambassador John Carter adjusted his formal suit as the transport docked at Celestial Station, the gleaming headquarters of the Galactic Council. The massive space structure hung like a jewel against the backdrop of swirling nebula clouds. This was humanity's big moment, their petition for membership after 50 years of interstellar travel. "Nervous?" asked Susan Miller, his diplomatic aide. Her calm voice didn't match her fidgeting hands. "Not nervous. Determined," John replied. "Earth deserves this seat. We've come too far to be turned away." The airlock hissed open. Two tall, blue-skinned Oraxians waited to escort them. The aliens stood nearly 7 feet tall with 4 arms and eyes that seemed to look in multiple directions at once. "Follow, please. Council convenes in 30 Earth minutes," the lead Oraxian said in flat, mechanical English. As they walked through the station's grand corridors, beings from across the galaxy stared at the humans. Some whispered. Others made gestures John couldn't interpret. A few laughed openly. "They're treating us like zoo animals," Susan whispered. John nodded, but kept his face neutral. "That ends today." The council chamber took John's breath away. A massive dome revealed the stars above, while 200 delegates from different worlds sat in rising circular tiers. The chamber hummed with translation devices and environmental systems, keeping dozens of species comfortable. The grand speaker, a willowy being with translucent skin, called for order. "The council recognizes the representatives of Earth who petition for membership status." John stepped forward to the central podium. His prepared speech outlined Earth's achievements, their rapid development of faster-than-light travel, their peaceful resolution of global conflicts, their artistic and cultural contributions. He spoke of humanity's desire to join the galactic community as equal partners. "We offer our unique perspective and abilities to strengthen the Council," John concluded. "Earth stands ready to fulfill all membership requirements." A moment of silence followed. Then came the laughter. It started with the Zorlaxian delegate, a reptilian being with scales that shifted colors with his emotions. Currently, they flashed amused purple. "The Council has heard many membership petitions," the Zorlaxian said, "but none so amusing as this one. These humans have barely left their own solar system. Their technology is borrowed and barely understood. They are emotional creatures who still wage war among themselves, and they believe they deserve equal standing." More delegates joined the laughter. "Humans are barely evolved primates playing with toys they don't comprehend," continued the Zorlaxian. "Their biology is inefficient. Their lifespans are brief. Their understanding of cosmic principles is childlike." John gripped the podium tightly. "We have met all published requirements for membership. We request fair consideration." The Plorax representative, a being composed of what looked like living crystal, raised a glowing appendage. "The human speaks truly about meeting technical requirements. However, readiness extends beyond technical achievements. Their species is unpredictable and dangerous." For 3 hours, delegate after delegate spoke against Earth's petition. A few smaller species offered modest support, but they held little influence. The final vote was overwhelming. Earth's petition was denied. Worse, the Council imposed restrictions on human expansion beyond the Sol system. "Until humans demonstrate greater maturity," the Grand Speaker announced, "they will be confined to their home system and nearby uninhabited worlds. This is for their protection and the stability of the region." John stood rigid as the chamber emptied. Susan looked close to tears. "This isn't over," John said quietly. "They think they know humans. They have no idea what we're capable of when challenged." As they returned to their ship, John's communicator buzzed with a message from Earth's president. "Return immediately. Full briefing needed. If they won't accept us as equals, we'll make them respect us as rivals." Looking back at the gleaming station, John felt something shift inside him. The mockery had awakened something ancient in human nature. The drive to prove doubters wrong, no matter the cost. The emergency meeting room beneath the White House buzzed with tension. 43 people sat around the oval table, world leaders, top scientists, military officials, and corporate innovators. At the head stood President Laura Wilson, her face grim as she reviewed Ambassador Carter's report. "They laughed at us," she said finally. "The Galactic Council not only rejected our petition, but restricted our expansion rights. They called us primitive and unstable." The Chinese premier leaned forward. "Then we show them otherwise." This meeting gave birth to the Human Advancement Initiative, a global project with a simple mission: prove humanity's worth to the galaxy. "We need breakthroughs in 3 areas," said President Wilson: technology, military tactics, and diplomacy. "And we need them fast." Chief Engineer Lisa Wright took charge of the technology division. A brilliant physicist with a knack for practical applications, she had been studying captured alien tech for years. "Their propulsion systems have a fundamental flaw," she explained to her team in their underground complex in Nevada. "They rely on consistent energy patterns, but what if we created deliberate fluctuations?" For 18 months, Lisa's team worked tirelessly. They slept in shifts. They missed birthdays and holidays. Some marriages fell apart under the strain. But when Lisa finally activated the prototype drive, it generated 300% more speed than anything in the known galaxy. "It's unstable," warned her assistant. Lisa smiled. "Exactly. We're embracing the chaos they think makes us weak." Meanwhile, in a converted missile silo in Montana, military strategist Alan Foster assembled a team of unconventional thinkers, gamers, sports coaches, and guerrilla warfare experts alongside traditional military minds. "Alien tactics are all about overwhelming force or perfect precision," Alan told them. "They don't adapt well to changing circumstances because their societies value order above all." His team developed combat doctrines that seemed chaotic but contained deep patterns, approaches that used human creativity and adaptability as weapons. "We'll never match their numbers," Alan admitted during a presentation to world leaders. "But we don't need to. We just need to be unpredictable." The third piece came from diplomat Patricia Garcia. While the Council had rejected Earth officially, Patricia sought unofficial contacts with smaller, marginalized species. Her work took her to shadowy corners of space stations and frontier outposts. "Many Council members resent the dominant species," she reported back. "The Zorlaxians and their allies control resources and technology access. There's discontent we can leverage." On a distant mining colony, Patricia met with representatives from 7 species who felt exploited by the Council. "Humans understand being underestimated," she told them. "We seek partners, not subjects. Together, we can create a more balanced galaxy." These secret allies provided critical intelligence and resources, allowing Earth to bypass many technological hurdles. 2 years after the Council's rejection, humanity unveiled the UES Defiance, the first of Earth's new fleet. From the outside, it looked unimpressive compared to the massive Council vessels. Inside, it housed technology that shouldn't have been possible for humans to develop so quickly. Captain Daniel Murphy walked the bridge of the Defiance during its commissioning ceremony. "She doesn't look like much," commented his first officer. "That's the point," Daniel replied. "Let them underestimate us one more time." President Wilson addressed the world that evening. "Today marks a new chapter. We will not rage against the Council's decision. We will not beg for acceptance. Instead, we will demonstrate through actions why humanity deserves respect." Unknown to the Council, 5 more ships were already under construction in hidden facilities across Earth. Each incorporated lessons from the Defiance, each improved upon its capabilities. The Council had made their judgment. Humanity's response was just beginning. Captain Daniel Murphy sat in the command chair of the UES Defiance, watching the main screen with narrowed eyes. Emergency signals flashed across the display. Distress calls from multiple worlds in the Draven sector. "Confirm those signals again," he ordered. Lieutenant Grace Bennett nodded. "Confirmed, sir. Vargan Syndicate pirates are hitting 3 worlds simultaneously. Council response vessels are at least 7 hours away. The Vargan Syndicate was notorious, a pirate fleet that raided vulnerable colonies, taking resources and slaves. The Galactic Council had failed to stop them for decades. "Any council orders regarding our presence here?" Daniel asked. "Yes, sir. We are to remain at the boundary marker and not enter council space under any circumstances." Daniel drummed his fingers on the armrest. This patrol mission was meant to be routine, a show of obedience to council restrictions while testing their new ships in deep space. "Send a message to Earth Command. Request permission to intervene." 20 minutes later, the response came. "Permission granted. Show them what humanity can do." Daniel stood and addressed his crew. "We're going in. This isn't just about saving those colonies. This is humanity's chance to demonstrate our worth." The Defiant surged forward, its experimental engines propelling it toward the conflict at speeds that would shock the Council engineers. Behind it, 2 more Earth vessels, the Courage and the Liberty, moved into formation. As they approached the First World, Kelnar II, the devastation became clear. 3 Vargan warships bombarded the colony from orbit, while smaller crafts landed to collect plunder and captives. "They haven't detected us yet," reported the tactical officer. "Our stealth systems are working." "Good," said Daniel. "Deploy drones." Dozens of small, unmanned craft shot from the Defiance, their erratic flight patterns making them nearly impossible to track. Each carried a device designed by Lisa Wright's team, technology that disrupted the Vargan's shield harmonics. The pirates detected the drones too late. Their shields flickered and failed as the human ships decloaked and opened fire. The Defiance targeted the Vargan command ship with precision strikes, while the Courage and Liberty engaged the support vessels. "They're breaking formation," Grace reported. "They didn't expect coordinated resistance." Daniel nodded. "Now for Phase 2. Ground teams deploy." Unlike the methodical Council forces, human Marines dropped into seemingly random patterns across the colony. They moved in small, autonomous teams, adapting their tactics moment by moment. The surprised pirates found themselves outflanked and confused. Communication channels across the sector lit up as observers reported the unexpected human intervention. Council members watched in shock as the primitive humans dispatched pirates that had evaded their forces for years. At the second colony, the Vargans attempted to adapt, concentrating their forces for a stand. Captain Olivia Chen of the Liberty countered by deploying sonic weapons that turned the pirates' armored suits against them. "They're retreating from all 3 worlds," Grace announced 4 hours later. "Syndicate losses at 70%. No civilian casualties since our arrival." The humans had saved thousands of lives across 3 different species. As the Council ships finally arrived, they found the Vargan fleet scattered and the human vessels providing medical aid to the colonies. "We're receiving a transmission from the Council command vessel," said the communications officer. On screen appeared a Medusan commander, his tentacled face unreadable. "Human vessels, you have violated Council directives by entering restricted space. We responded to distress calls when no one else could arrive in time," Daniel replied calmly. "Check your records, Commander. These colonies lost thousands before we arrived. They've lost none since." The Medusan paused. "Your assistance will be noted in official records. Stand by for further instructions." As the transmission ended, Daniel's crew broke into tired smiles. "Think we made an impression?" asked Grace. Daniel looked at the colony below, where families embraced rescued loved ones. "I think we just showed the galaxy exactly what humanity stands for, and this is only the beginning." The Galactic Council chamber buzzed like an angry hive. Emergency sessions were rare, but the human intervention against the Vargan Syndicate had forced the Council's hand. 200 delegates argued among themselves as footage of the battle played on massive screens. Ambassador John Carter sat quietly in Earth's observer section. Unlike his last appearance, he didn't approach the central podium. He simply watched as the Council confronted the evidence of human capability. The Grand Speaker raised all 4 of her arms for silence. This emergency session will address the unauthorized military action by Earth forces in protected Council space. The Zorlaxian delegate, scales now flashing angry red, stood first. These humans violated our clearest directive. They were restricted to their system, yet they sent warships into the Draven sector. This aggression cannot stand. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. John maintained his neutral expression, though internally he smiled. The Council had fallen into the exact scenario Earth had anticipated. Then came the surprise. The Nelvaran representative, a being whose crystalline body shimmered with internal light, requested to speak. The Nelvarans rarely participated in Council debates. My colony on Kelmar III would have been destroyed without human intervention, the Nelvaran stated. 8,000 of my people lived today, because these humans acted when the Council response was too slow. Are we to punish those who saved us? More delegates began to speak, many from worlds affected by the Vargan attacks. The Petrivians, the Illurians, and the Mantek all testified to the effectiveness and unexpected restraint shown by human forces. Their tactics were unlike anything we've seen, said the Mantek military attaché, her insectoid mandibles clicking with excitement. Not brute force, but adaptive patterns. They neutralized threats with minimal casualties on both sides. The Zorlaxian delegate hissed. Does no one see the danger? Their ships move faster than should be possible with their technology level. Their weapons bypassed Vargan shields when our own cannot. They'd been developing military technology in secret. Perhaps, said the Araxian Prime Minister, we underestimated their capabilities. John Carter finally stood and approached a speaking platform. Unlike before, delegates fell silent, watching him with new interest. Counselors, Earth did not seek this confrontation. We responded to distress calls from people in danger. Yes, we have developed new technologies, not for conquest, but for defense and exploration. The restrictions placed on humanity forced us to become more innovative. John paused, letting his words sink in. We don't ask for apologies for past treatment. We ask only for fair reconsideration based on our actions, not your preconceptions. The debate continued for hours. Some delegates demanded sanctions against Earth. Others suggested immediate full membership. Most fell somewhere between. Finally, the Grand Speaker called for a vote. The results appeared instantly on the chamber displays. Earth would be granted probationary relationship status, not full membership, but recognition and limited rights within Council space. Earth vessels may patrol designated sectors. Earth representatives may observe Council proceedings and participate in trade negotiations. After one standard cycle, full membership will be reconsidered, announced the Grand Speaker. As the session ended, delegates approached John with new respect. The Nelvaran representative extended a crystalline appendage in greeting. My people owe yours a debt, the Nelvaran said. We would welcome human traders and cultural exchanges. 7 other species made similar offers. Even those who had voted against Earth seemed curious rather than dismissive. As John prepared to return to his ship, the Zorlaxian delegate blocked his path. Do not mistake this outcome for acceptance, the reptilian being hissed quietly. You have merely proven our concerns correct. Humans are unpredictable and dangerous. John smiled politely. We're simply resourceful, Counselor, but I appreciate your candor. Walking away, John sent a brief message to Earth. Phase 1 complete. They're no longer laughing. They're watching. 6 months after gaining probationary status, humanity's position seemed to be improving. Earth ships protected trade routes. Human diplomats forged agreements with 15 species. Earth's advanced medical techniques saved thousands during an outbreak on Nelvaran colonies. Ambassador John Carter felt cautiously optimistic as he met with Susan Miller in his new permanent office on Celestial Station. The Araxians have invited us to their technology summit, Susan reported. And the Mantek want our help redesigning their defense systems. John nodded. Progress. Slow, but real. A soft chime interrupted them. John's secure terminal displayed an urgent message from Captain Daniel Murphy. Attack on New Hope colony. Massive casualties. Evidence points to Zorlaxian involvement. New Hope was humanity's first extrasolar colony, home to 12,000 people. John's blood ran cold. Get me emergency transport to the council chamber. But when John arrived, he found the chamber already in session, with Earth as the subject. Unprovoked attack on a Zorlaxian research outpost, the Grand Speaker was saying. 17 dead. Human weapons signatures confirmed. On the main display played footage of Earth ships firing on a small station. John recognized the ships. They were indeed human vessels. But something felt wrong. This is fabricated, John said, striding to the center of the chamber. Earth has been attacked. Our colony at New Hope was bombed an hour ago. The Zorlaxian delegate's scales flashed smug purple. How convenient. You attack our outpost, then claim to be the victim. More evidence appeared on screens around the chamber. Communications allegedly intercepted from Earth Command ordering strikes on Zorlaxian interests. Weapons fragments from human missiles found at 3 different attack sites. Testimonies from witnesses claiming human aggression. These are lies, John insisted. We need an independent investigation. But the evidence looked convincing. Even species friendly to humans seemed uncertain. John watched as allies became hesitant, their support wavering. The Zorlaxian delegate spoke with practiced sadness. We welcomed humans cautiously, and they repaid us with violence. Their technology advances weren't for defense. They were preparing for war. A vote was called before John could gather counter-evidence. The results were devastating. Earth was to be sanctioned immediately. All human ships were ordered to return to the Sol system. A containment protocol would be implemented, a euphemism for a blockade. This is a mistake, John told the chamber. You're being manipulated. The Grand Speaker's expression held genuine regret. The evidence is clear, Ambassador. The Council has spoken. As John left the chamber, he received an encrypted message from Patricia Garcia. Don't trust official channels. Meet our friends at coordinates enclosed. At a maintenance hub on the station's outer ring, John found representatives from 7 species, all Earth's secret allies. The Nelvaran spoke first, crystal body dimmed to avoid detection. The attacks are false. We have proof the Zorlaxians orchestrated everything. They fear your rapid advancement, added the Mantic representative. Our intelligence confirms they've been planning this for months. The Petrivian diplomat's voice trembled. There's more. The Council has authorized a pacification fleet to ensure Earth's compliance. But the Zorlaxians have convinced several members that more permanent measures are needed. John understood immediately. They're planning to attack Earth directly. The Illurian nodded his massive head. 3 days from now. Most Council members don't know the true scope. They think it's a show of force. We cannot officially help, said the Nelvaran. But we've disabled tracking on a fast courier ship. It's yours. John's mind raced. 3 days to warn Earth. 3 days to prepare for an attack from the most powerful fleet in the galaxy. Thank you all, he said. You risk everything by helping us. The Mantic clicked her mandibles. We choose justice over politics. Now go. Your people need you. As John boarded the courier, he sent one final message to Earth. Betrayal confirmed. Invasion imminent. Activate Protocol Omega. The real war was about to begin. Science officer Olivia Hayes hadn't slept in 36 hours. The UES Defiance hung in orbit around an ancient moon in an uncharted system, far from Council sensors. The ship's crew worked frantically to prepare for the coming attack, while Olivia pursued a different kind of defense. I found something, she told Captain Murphy, her voice tight with excitement. In the alien ruins, it changes everything. For months, Olivia had studied artifacts recovered from what humans called precursor sites, remnants of a civilization that vanished 50,000 years ago. Most Council species treated these ruins as merely historical curiosities, "Show me," Daniel said. Olivia led him to the science lab where holographic displays showed genetic sequences and ancient symbols. These ruins weren't just buildings. They were laboratories. And look at this genetic code. Daniel wasn't a scientist, but even he could see the patterns. That looks like human DNA. It is human DNA, but it's not natural. It's engineered. Olivia pulled up more displays. The precursors didn't just study life forms. They created them, and humans were one of their projects. You're saying we were made, not evolved. Not exactly. They used existing primates and modified them. Enhanced intelligence, improved adaptive capacity, accelerated learning capability. Olivia's hands shook with excitement. They were creating a successor species. Daniel processed this information. If this is true, why hasn't the Council found it? They have. Olivia displayed new information, Council security classifications, Zorlaxian research files. The Zorlaxians have known for centuries. They've been hiding this knowledge. The revelation stunned Daniel. Why? Because the precursors left records of their intentions. They were dying out and wanted a species that could eventually replace them. A species with creativity, adaptability, and resilience. They chose early humans. Olivia lowered her voice. The records say humans have potential to surpass even the precursors themselves. And the Zorlaxians feared this potential, Daniel concluded. Exactly. The Zorlaxians rose to power after the precursors disappeared. They've suppressed any species that showed similar traits. They've been manipulating the Council for centuries. Daniel immediately contacted Earth Command and Ambassador Carter. Within hours, an emergency plan formed. As the Council fleet assembled for its attack on Earth, Ambassador Carter requested one final hearing. Most delegates expected pleading or threats. They weren't prepared for what actually happened. John stood in the Council chamber, calm despite the armed guards surrounding him. Before you endorse this attack on my world, you should see what your leaders have hidden from you. Without permission, he activated a device. The chamber's displays overrode with Olivia's discovery, genetic sequences, precursor records, and most damning of all, classified Zorlaxian documents proving their centuries of manipulation. Humanity wasn't rejected for being primitive, John told the shocked delegates. We were rejected because the Zorlaxians recognize what we are, heirs to the precursors, with potential they fear. The Zorlaxian delegate leaped up, scales flashing panic white. This is fabricated. Arrest him. But Olivia had been thorough. The evidence was overwhelming. Delegates from dozens of worlds saw proof that the Zorlaxians had manipulated them for generations, suppressing technologies and keeping the Council dependent on Zorlaxian authority. The attack on our colony wasn't the first, John continued. The Zorlaxians had eliminated potential rivals before. Ask the Centauri, whose home system mysteriously destabilized. Ask the Garum, whose genetic play had Zorlaxian markers. Throughout the chamber, delegates began arguing. Some demanded the attack fleet be recalled. Others called for investigations into past Council decisions. The Zorlaxian delegate hissed an order into his communicator. Execute Case Omega. Now. Across the fleet preparing to attack Earth, Zorlaxian ships broke formation. Their true plan became clear. They would attack Earth regardless of Council authorization. John's voice cut through the chaos. You all need to decide. Stand with manipulators who fear the future, or help us build a galaxy where all species can reach their potential. As alarms blared across the station, several Council ships changed course to intercept the Zorlaxian fleet. The final battle for humanity's future had begun. Admiral Alan Foster stood on the bridge of the UES Intrepid, Earth's newest flagship. Through the viewscreen, he watched as the combined Earth fleet took positions around the edge of the Sol system. 43 ships against nearly 200 Zorlaxian vessels. All ships report ready, Admiral, said his communications officer. The Defiance and Courage are in position. Civilian evacuations to the underground shelters are complete. Alen nodded. The odds looked impossible, but humans specialized in beating impossible odds. "Open a channel to all Earth ships," he ordered. When the connection was established, Alan spoke simply. "This is Admiral Foster. Today we fight not just for Earth, but for all species who deserve freedom from manipulation. Remember your training. Trust your captains. Stay flexible. The Zorlaxians expect us to be predictable. Let's disappoint them." The enemy fleet arrived precisely as Olivia's calculations had predicted, dropping out of faster-than-light travel in tight formation. Their ships arranged in the classic Zorlaxian attack pattern, a spearhead of destroyers backed by cruisers and support vessels. "They're launching fighters," reported the tactical officer. Alan smiled slightly. "Activate the gravity disruption field." Lisa Wright's final gift to the fleet activated. The space between the fleets rippled as Earth ships generated unpredictable gravity waves, invisible terrain in the battlefield of space. The first wave of Zorlaxian fighters tumbled out of control, their rigid formation shattered. "Phase 2, ordered Alan. Earth ships broke into seemingly random patterns, each captain executing their part of a complex dance. To observers, the human fleet appeared to be in chaos, ships moving in different directions without apparent coordination. The Zorlaxian commander, confused by this approach, divided his forces to pursue individual human vessels, exactly as Alan had planned. "Now," he said quietly. Human ships suddenly reversed course, converging on isolated enemy vessels. The Defiance, commanded by Daniel Murphy, led 3 ships through the Zorlaxian right flank, targeting their command ships with prototype weapons. On the communications channel, Ambassador Carter reported from the Council. 14 species have dispatched ships to support us. The Council is fragmenting. Many now believe our evidence. The battle raged for hours. Human ships took damage but adapted constantly, changing tactics faster than the Zorlaxians could respond. Earth's secret allies arrived, adding their ships to the defense. The turning point came when Captain Olivia Hayes, now commanding the science vessel Discovery, deployed the final technology developed from her precursor research, a signal that temporarily disrupted the Zorlaxians' neural implants. "Their fleet is retreating," announced the tactical officer finally. "We count 67 enemy ships destroyed or disabled. Our losses, 11 vessels." Cheers erupted across the bridge. Alan remained focused. "Secure all sectors. Help the wounded. This isn't over yet." He was right. 3 days later, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. The Zorlaxian delegation was absent, their government in chaos after the battle and the revelations. Ambassador Carter stood before the Council not as a petitioner, but as an equal. "The deception has ended. Now we must decide what comes next." For 2 weeks, negotiations continued. Old power structures collapsed. New alliances formed. Earth proposed a new framework, not a council ruled by the oldest or most advanced species, but a true partnership where innovation and ethics mattered more than history. 1 month after the battle, representatives from 32 worlds gathered on Earth to sign the Galactic Alliance Charter. Among its core principles, knowledge would be shared, not hoarded. All species would have the right to develop their potential, and power would be balanced through checks built into the new governing structure. Admiral Foster watched the ceremony from the Intrepid, now undergoing repairs in Earth orbit. "Did you ever think we'd get here?" asked Daniel Murphy, joining him at the viewport. Alan shook his head. "Not when they were mocking us. But humans have always done our best when others underestimate us." Below them, Earth shone blue and green, the home of a species that had gone from rejected petitioners to architects of a new galactic order in less than 3 years. "They're not mocking us anymore," Daniel said. "No," Alan smiled. "Now they're following us. And that's a much better arrangement for everyone." 10 years after the formation of the Galactic Alliance, the Great Hall of New Harmony Station bustled with activity. Representatives from 87 species moved through the vast circular chamber, their voices creating a symphony of languages and translation devices. At the center of this diplomatic hub stood the Monument of Unity, a towering sculpture with contributions from every member world. Earth's portion was simple, a bronze human hand reaching upward, fingers outstretched toward the stars. John Carter, now serving as Earth's senior ambassador, paused before the monument. At 62, his hair had turned silver and lines etched his face, marks of the decade of intense work that had transformed galactic politics. "Admiring your handiwork?" asked a familiar voice. John turned to see Nelora, the Nelvaran diplomat who had helped humanity during their darkest hour. Her crystalline form had matured, developing new facets that caught the light. "Just remembering how far we've come," John replied. "Sometimes I still expect to wake up and find myself back at that first council hearing, being laughed at by the Zorlaxians." "Those days are long past," Nelora said. "The children born since then know only the Alliance." They walked together toward the Alliance chamber, where the day's most significant event would take place. Along the way, they passed the Academy of Sciences, where Olivia Hayes, now Director Hayes, led research teams of mixed species studying precursor technology. "Her latest breakthrough in medical regeneration is remarkable," Nelora commented. "My people have already implemented it on our colony worlds." John nodded. "She always said the precursors left us tools, not just genes. We just had to learn how to use them properly." The main chamber filled quickly as representatives took their seats. Today would see the admission of 3 new species to the Alliance, including, ironically, a faction of reformed Zorlaxians who had overthrown their old leadership and embraced the new Galactic Order. Admiral Foster, now with more gray than brown in his beard, joined John at Earth's section. Despite numerous offers of political positions, Alan had remained with the fleet, overseeing its transformation from a military force to an exploration and peacekeeping armada. "The Haslani delegation arrived safely," Alan reported. "First contact went perfectly. They're quite eager to join." "Any word from the Frontier Group?" John asked. Alan smiled. "Captain Murphy sends his regards. The Defiant has mapped 16 new systems beyond the Cygnus Arm. They've encountered 2 pre-spaceflight civilizations. And let me guess, no interference, just observation. Exactly by the book. Daniel says we'll give them their space to develop naturally." The ceremony began with the Alliance Corps, a group representing 20 different species, singing the Harmony Anthem. The music filled the chamber, each species contributing their unique vocal qualities to create something greater than any could achieve alone. As the new member species took their oaths, John thought about how much had changed. The old council had been built on fear and dominance. The Alliance stood for cooperation and mutual growth. After the ceremony, John met privately with Elara, a young human diplomat just beginning her career. "Is it true what they say?" she asked him. "That you knew this would happen from the beginning? That the mockery at the council was actually the perfect starting point?" John laughed softly. "No one could have predicted this exact outcome. We just knew that humans had always shown their best qualities when challenged or underestimated, and now we're helping guide the galaxy." "Not ruling it," John corrected. "That's the important distinction. The Zorlaxians wanted to rule. The precursors wanted worthy successors. We chose a different path. Partnership." As evening fell on New Harmony Station, lights illuminated the Great Hall. Species that once would have avoided each other now collaborated on projects, shared meals, and built friendships. From a viewing window, John watched a fleet of ships departing, the 4th Exploration Division, heading beyond known space. "They mocked us once," he murmured to himself. "We answered not with conquest, but with community. That's humanity's true legacy." The stars beckoned beyond the glass, promising new discoveries and challenges for the civilization humans had helped create. A civilization built not on fear and dominance, but on the recognition that diversity of life and thought was the greatest strength of all.